Good evening, Gills fans. Welcome back to Gills in the Blood TV. It is Thursday, which means match preview time. I am unfortunately flying solo this evening. Boz is currently unavailable, but we will both be travelling up north to the Stadium of Light early doors on Saturday morning as we take on Sunderland. But we will get on to that match preview later on in the video. First things first, there's a couple of bits to get through. And Thursday, as you know, is release day for the Medway Messenger and Moment of Truth. That is the headline on the back of today's edition. Evans, next 4 games will make or break the Gills. He's talking about the next quartet of fixtures, which start obviously this Saturday at the Stadium of Light, as I've already mentioned. We then host Fleetwood before 2 away games at Stadium MK against MK Dons and the New York City Stadium taking on high-flying Rotherham. He thinks that if we're within striking distance of the top 6 once we come through these 4 fixtures, then we've got a great chance. He says, we know how tough these next 4 games are, particularly with 3 away from home. But if we're driving out of Rotherham and we're within 6 points of the playoff group, I think we'll get in it. He then goes on to talk about other teams and says 1 or 2 have got an easier run in, but 3 or 4 have got a real tough run in. So we need to be sitting on the shoulder ready to pounce. And if we're not going to pounce, we need to learn why we couldn't and make sure we're stronger in the summer. And finally, to finish off, he says, it will be tough for us, but my players have not shirked a challenge all season. We've got absolutely nothing to lose. I spoke to the Roker Report podcast last night for a piece and said that we're going somewhat under the radar, which is quite nice. There's absolutely no pressure on us now, is there? I think I said on there that I think it's improbable, but not impossible in terms of us gate crashing that top 6. The gap's now 8 points. We have played more than some of the teams in there, but the good thing is that in our final 10 games, we still have to play Coventry, we still have to play Rotherham, we still have to play Sunderland, we still have to play Wickham. So there's plenty of fixtures where we can take points off of teams in and around us. We know it's going to be hard. We're working on a really small squad, but it's been a squad that, as Steve Evans alludes to, has never backed down all season. And as disappointing as last Saturday's result was, I think we'll get a reaction come Saturday. And then, yeah, after that run of 3 away games in 4, I think we finished with 4 from the final 6 are at the Priestfield, where we've generally been really, really good this season. Despite losing more than we have on the road, we picked up a lot more points in Kent. Just another couple of bits inside from the chairman, Paul Scally. Good vibes are back. We just need more fans to return. And he does talk about stuff that was already mentioned at last week's Q&A session a week ago tonight. That was. So if you can, if you want to have a look at our video from last week, head over to the channel and find that. But yeah, the interesting one was average attendance is up at home based on the same period last time by around 100 fans. But Scally doesn't want to stop there. He wants more people to keep coming back. He's encouraging those that attend regularly to tell their mates about us and tell everyone that we're playing well and we're getting good results on the whole. So would be nice to get a few more 100 through the door every week. The only way we can really do that is by pushing season ticket scales, but ultimately playing well consistently and winning lots of football matches. He then tends to conclude, and I tend to agree, he says, regardless of what happens for the remainder of the season, the buzz is back around the Priestfield and there are plenty of reasons to be positive. The players have been exceptional and the supporters superb. I think we've all noticed, myself, Boz and Stocky and Glenn and Owen and anyone else who's been on the channel, Reese and James, atmosphere in the Rainham End has generally been really good this season. It seems that the scheme to get more people into that section of the ground at the beginning of the campaign has worked. There tends to be a lot more singing. There tends to be a lot more back and forth from the middle of the Rainham End to the left side and the right side, which increases the songs and increases the volume. And it's been known for years that we almost can suck the ball into the net at that end. Shame we didn't do it Saturday, but it was just one of them days, wasn't it? But all in all, Saturday doesn't detract from what was a really, really good unbeaten run that lasted the best part of 3 months or so. And if we can go on another unbeaten run between now and the end of the campaign, then who knows, we might be able to gate crash that top 6. It's going to be really tough. We have no room for manoeuvre now. I think Steve Evans is targeting 25 points from the next 30. I'm not sure we'll need that many, but I'd imagine we need between probably 69 and 71. So we'll have to see what happens, but we'll have to enjoy the ride and let's just hope that the season doesn't fizzle out. And obviously, Saturday, we travel all the way up north to take on this lot. think it'll be a very different Sunderland that we take on this coming weekend to the Sunderland that we took on 3 times and beat twice back in the autumn. We had a 1-1 draw at the Stadium of Light in the Cup, didn't we? And then won the replay 1-0 after extra time, and then saw them off in the league at the Priestfield by the same scoreline. So, yeah, back then they were in a state of disarray. I think their fans didn't want Phil Parkinson in charge, and they wanted him out the door, and results weren't going well. Performances were inept, and we mentioned at the time of the FA Cup replay that for a side that boasts the amount of talent that they've got all over the park, they look devoid of ideas and looked a shadow of what they should be, I'd imagine. But since we beat them in the league at the start of December, I think they've only lost 3 in 16 in the league. 2 of them have come recently against Portsmouth and Coventry last weekend. So just dropped off a little bit, but on the whole have been very good. And they're unbeaten in their last 9 at home. But let's have a look at the form table in terms of the last 6 overall and the last 6 at home and away for the respective clubs. Sunderland have won 4, drawn 1 and lost 1 of their last half a dozen. So that gives them 13 points from the last 18 available. The Gills, 3 wins, 2 draws and a defeat, so not too dissimilar. It's 11 points from the same 18 available. At home, the Mackhams have been really good. It's 5 wins and a draw in their last 6. They've taken 16 points from the last 18 available. So that sort of tells you all you need to know about the task in hand for this coming weekend. But on the road though, we've been unbeaten since 23rd of November, and the last 6 has brought us 4 draws and 2 wins. And 2 of them wins have come in the last 3 games on the road at Blackpool and Southend. So 8 unbeaten on the road for us, 9 unbeaten at home for Sunderland. Their unbeaten run boasts 5 wins and 4 draws, and our away run boasts 2 wins and 6 draws. In terms of their squad, like I've already mentioned it, they've got loads of quality all over the park. You look at their defence, their midfield, their attacking options are players that would walk into our side, no disrespect to our team. Chris Maguire and Lyndon Gooch both into double figures for the season in the league, but they seem to have a problem in the same area as us, and that's getting their strikers to score goals. If you look at all those that have played for him so far this season, Will Griggs got 1 in the league. Carl Lafferty, who arrived in January, is yet to get off the mark. Mark McNulty, who's now gone to Hibs on loan, only got 2 in the league. Duncan Watmore got a solitary strike, and Charlie White's got 5 in about 25 games. So hardly prolific from all of them. Like I say, similar to our set of strikers at the moment. I think both teams are probably better defensively than they are offensively. And that's probably backed up in the fact that Sunderland have had 10 draws in the league this season from their games, and we've had 14. And of Sunderland's 10, they've drawn 8 of them 1-1. And we've drawn 6 of them, 14 of ours 1-1. So seems to be a favoured scoreline amongst both sides. But yeah, it'd be a tough game. They're playing well. You'd imagine if they'll be looking to get on the front foot early, press us high, pinch possession and try and score an early goal and make us change our game plan. From our point of view, I probably will imagine we'll go in and try to sit in and soak up pressure and play on the break. We can use the pace of the likes of Brandon Hanlon or Jordan Roberts or John Akindi or Jordan Graham or Regan Charles Cook, whoever starts the game. I think that might be the game plan. Quieten the crowd down and go from there. So if we can be at 0-0 after about 20 minutes, I think we'll give ourselves a chance. In terms of team news, obviously we know the only one that's not available is Mark Byrne. Aside from that, I think we've got everybody available, including Max Amar, who dislocated his shoulder last Saturday. There is a piece on the back of the Medway Messenger that states that he's a doubt, but Steve Evans did mention in his press conference today that Max has trained all week and is available for selection. And for me, if he's 95% fit, then we start him, because he's only missed 15 minutes of the League One campaign, and that was last week when he had to come off injured when his shoulder had popped out. So for me, the team would be Jack Bonham, Barry Fuller, Max Amar, Jack Tucker and Connor Ogilvie. I would then make a couple of changes to the middle of the park. I would stick with Alfie Jones at the base of the diamond, despite not being at his best last weekend. I would retain Stuart O'Keefe from the right-hand side, but I would bring in Ben Pringle to the left-hand side of that diamond in the place of Thomas O'Connor. Just think he'll give us more technical ability, be able to keep the ball for us, which we're probably going to have to do, because I doubt we're going to see loads of it. So when we get it, it's probably imperative that we keep hold of it and use it properly. And on the back of scoring twice in his last few appearances, I think Regan Charles Cook deserves a chance to start. So I'd have him in the number 10. And I would pair Brandon Hanlon with Jordan Roberts up front. I think John Akindi was as poor as I've seen him last week, and it's maybe just becoming a slight concern now that He's only scored once since arriving, and like I said on the Monday review, I'm not going to sit here and write him off, but strikers thrive on confidence, strikers thrive on momentum, and he's probably slightly low on both at the moment. So I'm going to go with Jordan Roberts back in the side. He's big, he's strong, he can play with his back to goal, but he's quick and he's technically very good, and we know all about Brandon's pace and power, and he caused problems against them last season at the Stadium of Light, scored a good goal. He caused them problems in the league fixture at the Priestfield. He caused them loads of problems in the FA Cup replay at the Priestfield and scored the winner. So he's hopefully going to go into the game confident that he knows he's played well against this team a couple of times in recent months. So yeah, that's my 11, and that leaves the bench being Joe Walsh, Thomas O'Connor, Matty Willett, Jordan Graham, Ollie Lee, Mika Mandron and John Akindi. Obviously, before I finish up, the big question is score prediction. You might have guessed it if you've listened in any sort of detail to the middle part of that vlog where I talked about League One draws. I'm going to go for Sunderland 1, Gillingham 1, and I'm going to back Jordan Roberts to get on the score sheet for us this weekend. I don't think a point would be a disaster. We do need more wins than draws. I said that on the Roker Report podcast last night. We simply cannot draw ourselves into the playoffs, but I think it'd be a 1-1 draw. I don't think that'd be a disaster for Sunderland. It'll keep them in that top 6, and it'll be another game unbeaten on the road for us. Right, that is enough from me this evening. I'll let you all go and enjoy the rest of your Thursday evening. It is Friday tomorrow, which means the weekend is on the horizon. The weather's great as well. Tongue firmly in cheek. Hope to see a lot of you on the coach on Saturday morning. Like I say, myself and Boz are travelling up to the Stadium of Light. It's our first visit to there. So it's a new ground for us, one that we're immensely looking forward to, despite the really early start and the really late finish that it's going to be. So hopefully we'll see a few of you on the coach and at the ground. And until next time, up the Jewels.